Hello and welcome to another live stream. My name's Shane Olson, if you didn't know that by now, and I'm going to be sculpting this awesome character. Let me see if I can point at him up there. That character from a friend of mine. His name's Guy Francis. He's a local Utahn like me, and that means from Utah. You didn't know what that meant. Hey Dan, how you doing? Um, so yeah, we're gonna be sculpting this really fun design. He made me laugh. Guy posted it the other day on his Facebook or Instagram, I think, and I'm like, oh man, that would be fun to sculpt. He looks really challenging, particularly in the mouth. I'm gonna be trying to figure out how to uh, make it transition from the mouth down the neck and stuff like that. So should be fun. Welcome. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and let's get to it. I need to get some music going first, though. All right. All right. There we go. I also have to share this on Facebook. You know how it goes. The routine. Okay. If I can find it. There it is. Share now. And share to my page. Okay. So I hope everyone is doing good today. Welcome to 2021, the brand new year. Hopefully it brings us good things. Hey, Peter. Okay. Let's get rocking. Okay. So let's start with this sphere like I usually do. We'll just duplicate this down. Hello. Hey, Neil, what's up? Welcome. Hey, Lewis. How did I spend the new year? I spent it just here with my family, in my home. You know, we played some family games, which were pretty fun. My son suggested we play. It's called Jackbox. Have you ever heard of Jackbox? There's like 7 different versions of it, and everybody gets on their phone or their tablet or whatever, and it's kind of like it's like a game on TV, sort of, but you play it on your phone. It's really fun. So if you haven't checked that out, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. And there's one that's a drawing one that was fun, but it's pretty hilarious. Peter, I'm gonna make this old guy. So that's the idea anyway. So let's try and get this shape as close as we can. I don't know why I'm using my mouse. This guy has I love the shape of his head. It goes from very thin down by his mouth up to quite large in his forehead. So I'm going to pack everything kind of down low. Happy New Year to you, HD. Thank you. Okay, and I have a feeling I'm going to take this to Sculptris Pro sooner rather than later, as soon as I get everything in position. Yeah, I'm on a 27-inch Cintiq from a few years ago. Turn off this. Is it important to learn facial anatomy? Yes, it is. The more you know about anatomy and structure, the easier time you're going to have being successful in interpreting the design. Because even though it's stylized, it's still based in reality. Do I start with a polysphere? Is it definitely best for characters? It is for me. The reason I don't start with a base mesh typically is because I don't want to be influenced by that base mesh. Usually you can kind of see it in your final design. So I just like to, yeah, kind of, and it helps me slow down and see all the important shapes for sure. So Uzaris, that's kind of part of the, if you can't, what you need to do is see the base shapes. And that's whether you're doing realism or stylized, it doesn't matter. The base shapes do matter. It doesn't matter if you're trying to do realistic or stylized. You need to get those base shapes right. Actually, I'm going to do it like this. All right. Let me see. The details are usually just surface anyway. You know, like skin pores and things like that. And this guy does have wrinkles and he's going to have some details, but the difference for me between realism and stylized is the exaggeration and simplification of things. So that's like a kind of an added skill set on top of doing things with realism, because it's taking what's there and exaggerating it. Okay. Just gonna pop a shirt on there. Whoops. I didn't mean to draw another sphere on there. Hey, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. And again, thanks everybody for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Happy New Year. Happy 2021. Hopefully it's better than the last one. I know it's just a number or whatever, but it's just the idea of a reset always helps, you know? Even though it's just another day. Okay, let's see. Let's do a clip curve here. Why you don't split them into different subtools? I will. Some things I'll keep together, some things I'll separate. It depends on the material usually, what it's made out of. Hey, what's up, Ryan? Chris, what's going on? Hey, Miguel. Yeah, same with the US. It's pretty, you know, until it won't be normal till it's normal. Hey, from France, hello. Just hanging out, awesome. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see. Why did I divide the head into two parts? Because I kind of I think about the head in two parts. I think about the cranium as one piece and the jaw, where the jaw meets the eyes. This will eventually be the eye line, and that's why I like to do. It's just kind of something I've developed that I like to do it that way. Okay, I'm gonna split this off. Okay, because the shirt's made of a different material, I like to split it off. Hey, from Costa Rica, hello. All right, and again, this design is by Guy Francis. You can find his work on Instagram. Really, really good character designer. Love his stuff. I've sculpted something of his before, and he's actually local. He doesn't live too far away from me. Yep, Lewis. Okay. Am I using a Cintiq? Yes. It's a 27-inch Cintiq. Wacom. Mm-hmm. Whoa. Thanks, Neil. Yeah, I basically just insert spheres and squish them into what I want them to be. His ears are very low. And also, if you want these brushes down here, you can find them on 3dcharacterworkshop.com. This 3D Character Workshop right here. And I'm working on updating my insert multi-mesh to add some specific base meshes, like an ear. It wouldn't work for this ear really, but just to kind of speed up some workflow. Just notice the new sphere takes the direction of the gizmo. Yeah, actually, it's the gizmo that takes the direction of the sphere. So if you draw it on the surface, it will remain in that direction. So yeah. Yep, I am working on it. That's my goal for 2021 is to get 3D Character Workshop 2.0 in the hands of the public, the peoples. Give the people what they want. Hey Liam, how's it going? Okay. Just shaping this ear a little bit. Very interesting ear. Very kind of angular in places. What do you do when the minimum size of the brush is too big for the model, when the scaling the whole model is not an option? Is there a way to make it smaller in? Yeah, there is a way where, see this draw size, if you push S, see how it says dynamic right here? You can turn that off and make the brush as big or as small as you want. So that dynamic basically ties it to the scene size. But I actually make, hey, what's up, Carlos? If you use my ruler file, which is here, this ruler file is set to the scene size that ZBrush wants you to work at. So, and this is another thing, not to continually pitch the thing, but if you want this ruler file, I give it away for free again over on my website. And if you work within these dimensions, this is like I made him a 177 centimeters tall person. But basically ZBrush wants you to work within, it's called 2. So if I select this ruler, you can see that the size right here is XYZ is at 2, okay? So look at your scene, go open your file that you're having troubles with and select like one of the largest pieces of your model and look at this XYZ size. And if it's not anywhere near 2, then that's most likely the reason why you're having troubles. And you can use a tool in here called Unify. Unify, I'm not sure where it is. I don't use it too much because I always use my ruler. So I don't have to. But yeah, you can use Unify to help you. But you just need to be careful with Unify because it will mess up your scale if you're going back and forth between other programs. So let's see. Thanks for the 3D printer recommendation you gave me. Yeah, sure. I know you mentioned the Form 2 or 3. What are those like? Also, I know you said you should avoid FDM, but I forget why. Can you remind me? FDM it's fine and it's cheap. They're the cheaper printers you can get, cheaper plastic you can get. And the builds are much faster when you make them, but at the cost of quality. So you're going to see the steps, you're going to see the slices throughout your model. So you're going to have to do some sanding and some cleanup with that. With resin printers, you don't have to do that typically. Like with the Form 1 or the Form 2 and 3, there's very little cleanup. You just have to kind of sand off or file off some of the support where the supports touch, and that's about it. Otherwise, it's really clean. I do hit it with some primer, just some super light primer, just to kind of even out the surface. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do there with that. Let's see. It's been making a hammer for my bear model. Awesome. Yeah, your bear's turning out great, Liam. Awesome. I love it. Sorry for the essay. No worries. Yeah, Carlos, I have huge plans, my friend. I do. I'm going. Well, I need to do this announcement to the students first instead of to the public first. So let me talk to my students, and then I know you're a student, Carlos, but yeah, I want to talk about what my plans are for the new year with the students so they kind of understand what my goals are and that kind of stuff. And same with you, Kev. Any news on the new course going the concept route rather than game-based direction or adding it? Yeah, I'm probably not going. Are you talking about like sculpting without a concept, like 3D sculpting for concept work? What I could do for that is I could interview people who do that for a living, like my friend Justin Goby Fields, or yeah, I know a couple people that do that for a living, so I could do an interview with those people. But I don't really do that myself, so I wouldn't feel good about teaching it. Okay. Nico from Spain, 12 years old. Hello, welcome. Okay. Enjoy your videos. Thanks, Darth. Okay. Should I use the Scale Master plugin to Unify? I don't use that plugin too much. I mean, you could try it. Unify is under deformation. There you go. So yeah, deformation. Thanks for that. Deformation, and then Unify right there at the top. So that will unify all your things. Okay. Let's get going on this. I'm feeling like I'm slowing down a little bit answering questions, but keep the questions coming. I don't mind. Harry, I have, but I haven't rolled them out yet. There is a problem with one iteration of ZBrush. It would duplicate this Move Elastic button, and it would replace Move with Move Elastic, so there'd be two Move Elastics here. I need to update and fix that. I fixed it on my own, but I need to fix it and roll it out. But I'm also updating the Insert Multi-Mesh brush and adding some more and removing some that I don't use very much. So hopefully soon. Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay. Thanks, Sheswada. How you doing? I'm doing well, thanks. Sorry I didn't respond to you when you posted before. Chat's kind of going crazy today, but I love it. Okay. Let's get his nose in there. I'm going to use the appendage brush for that. He's got quite the schnoz, doesn't he? Love it. Neil, I'm listening to Yaz today, or Yazoo as they're known in the UK or London. Good stuff. Okay, let's give him some eye sockets. All right. It's got some big cheekbones as well. Yeah, this is going to be the challenge. Is this crumpled little mouth underneath here? Oh goodness, I love it. The weak chin, crumpled little ears. Let's raise these up a little bit more. Okay. Greetings from Peru. Hey Juan, how are you? All right. Let's see. Let's get those eyes in there. I always make eyes larger than I think they should be. Got such beady little small eyes. It's funny. Okay, I do usually put the eyes in their own subtool. Subtool. And then, whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Thanks, Sapna. I'm not sure how to say your name. Thank you very much. Yeah. I was listening to Can You Hear Me? I think it was called. It's good stuff. Now it's the Pet Shop Boys. It's a sin. Is that a Picasso character? Kind of, but it's done by an artist friend of mine. His name is Guy Francis. Do I use AccuMove? I don't think I've ever used AccuMove. Okay, let's give him a mouth. And I'm gonna do just kind of start to pull these jowls down. Okay. Then use the Z modeler brush to push this in. Let's see. I want to do polygroup, single poly. There we go. Yeah, probably that. And then extrude, polygroup all. Let's turn off dynamic subdivisions for a second. And I just extruded it in a couple times just to get some edge loops happening. Okay. And we can just smooth this. Hey, Jose. Greetings from Spain. Thank you very much. Greetings and Happy New Year. Okay, I'm going to try something. Polygroup. Did you know that, here's a little tip for you. If you're trying to make a new polygroup and you're wanting to do a new color, you can, basically when I'm using this Z modeler tool, I'm using polygroup single poly. And when you click, it'll just assign you the first color that it wants to. It's kind of random. But if you want to change that color while you're holding it down, you can tap on Alt and it will cycle through polygroup colors. And then now that's your new color that you can use. So I was just going to kind of go around here like this and give me a kind of a loop to go around. Will this be rigged? Most likely not. Just be a model. I just do models on these live streams. I don't usually intend to rig them. Okay. I just like to bring in this corner, so because I'm going to Z remesh this, but I don't want it to try and, stick to that corner. Z remesher likes to go around things, and it fights it when it's square. So I kind of lead it in a direction that I want it to flow, and I have better results. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm going to subdivide it once, and let's see, get rid of the lower subdivision just so I have more to work with, and it's still giving me this square up here. Okay, come on, smoothing smooths it right back to square. Okay, let's see what we get with this. I really like this Easy Remesh plugin. You can grab that on ArtStation, I believe. Is there a way to flick a long rectangular cube as if it's a belt, but make it look natural? I don't understand the question, sorry. You can build a belt out of a cube, sure. Or you can, what I usually like to do is just draw some topology and then extrude it off the surface. That's the way I usually build belts. Okay, I'm going to use this, let's see, easy remesh it, but I'm not going to hold down Alt. And we'll see what it gives us. But I want to turn on keep groups. So I'm going to turn on keep groups right here. Then we'll see what happens. Oh, I forgot to push a button. That's not too bad. I'm going to undo that though. And I'm going to do a 20,000. Can you change a mesh after rigging it? You can, but it's kind of difficult. Okay, and then I'm going to half it. Okay, that's pretty good. I think that'll work for us. All right, then why don't I use Dynamesh? Because Dynamesh is gives me too dense of a mesh. I used to use Dynamesh all the time. I still like to use it for experimentation when I'm doing a lot of like concepting and stuff. Using the clay strips brush and just starting from a sphere and just more like traditional sculpting. Or I also like to use Dynamesh when I am wanting a watertight model for 3D printing. I'll use it for that. But my workflow is typically using Z remesher and then stitching it together and then using Sculptris Pro instead. That's my preferred workflow these days. You just got finished watching the Dino Rider. That was a long series, huh? How did you like it? That's sitting over, you can't really see it. It's like behind this chair. No, it's, oh, it's out of camera. Okay. So I don't want to stitch the ear in yet. So I'm going to separate it from this group. Thanks, Juan. Maybe Topology tool will affect that, especially when working with defined concept. Maybe. Let's see. Let me split this off. Okay. And then I'm trying to decide if I want to put, I think I will add some eyelids here. Okay. Because I like this trick. If you select the eyes and turn everything to transparent, you can actually draw through the head model. And just go like this. And maybe one more through here for fun. Just draw some topology like that. Turn your draw size down to 1 and click on the surface. And it'll make a single-sided surface. You can't really see that, but then I hit split unmask points. And now there's my eyelid. And I'm going to do it again for the lower eyelids. Okay. Topology brush. That way I can kind of get it already in the direction I want it to be in without having, because a lot of people will start from like half of a sphere and shape that. That's the way I used to do it. But now I kind of do it like this. That's cool, Ryan. No worries, Jingy. I like that name, Jingy. It's fun to say. Okay, split. I sound like Elf. Okay. So now what I can do is I really like to use dynamic thickness with these. So I can go to dynamic subdivision and just add thickness right here. And I love it so much because it's non-destructive. And I usually clear the creases and then turn on this post subdiv button. Then we get a soft ledge on there. 28 hours long, that's crazy. Okay. How do you print your 3D character? That's a huge question that I teach on my course, not to pitch my course, but it's kind of a bigger question than I can answer here. But I can do a high level answer, which is I prep it for 3D printing and then decimate it and then put it over to the Formlabs software, add supports, and then print it on my Formlabs printer. So that's kind of the high level answer. Oops, there we go. Forgot I had dynamic turned on. Yeah, if you're interested in learning more, you can go check out 3dcharacterworkshop.com. There's a link to find out more about the course. And I do cover 3D printing in there. Okay, so I want to insert an edge loop close to this edge. And then slide this down here. What's the difference between T-pose mesh and pose mesh with 3D Gizmo? the 3D gizmo doesn't really matter in that question. But this T-pose mesh will take your character and change it to the lowest subdivision level of all of your subtools, collapse it together, and then allow you to pose that. It's like a low resolution character that you can pose. And then when you're done, you hit T-pose to sub T, and it will bring all of your posed pieces and push them back up to the high resolution parts. So if that makes sense. Yeah, Master 4, I'll get there. I got to put the pieces in and then I'll adjust them. That's how it works. Thanks, Miguel. You're not the first person to tell me that. I appreciate it. Thanks. Okay, insert edge loop here and here. And this mic helps quite a bit too. I finally invested in a good microphone. Okay, now I don't want the thickness this thick. There we go. Okay, I just need to do the same thing with this. Uncrease. Slide it. See, now that I have these eyelids in here, I can just kind of continue to shape them around, get them to be where I want them to be. But I'm really just adjusting the single-sided surface, and it's dynamically adding the thickness, which is awesome. Thank you, Neil. Curious how a lot of courses in Latin America do not show how to make a well-made mouth in ZBrush. That's interesting because I actually accidentally discovered this method, and I've been using it ever since. Okay, so I'm gonna stitch these together. It's funny, he looks like a clown, but okay. Yeah, so let's stitch these together. Use remesh by union. Accept. Okay, and now at this point, you can see it's stitched together. It makes these little triangles. And from this point, I don't really care about the polygroups anymore. They're just there for, you know, I just wanted to get the ring around the mouth so then I can adjust it. So now now that they're stitched together, I can close the mouth and make it look more like it does in the concept here. So I like to turn on topological and change the range to 3. That way I can adjust the top lip without affecting the lower lip. And we can kind of bring this back and down. And then inflate these the rest of the way closed. What is this range? It's topological masking is what this is. And this is a button that I've brought out. You can find it under brush and under auto masking right here. It's right there, topological. And it has a range and a smooth. And I don't really use the smooth at all. I just use range, and range is a fall off. And basically, what topological does is it allows you to move one object while ignoring the other. That's why it's auto masking. It's like masking off the other piece. So you can edit one piece without affecting the other. And the range is if you want to affect one piece of the model that's part of the same model, like these two lips, and you can just turn the range down so it doesn't affect the lower. You can just adjust the upper. Hey, Ofori. I just started learning ZBrush myself and binging all the tutorials. It's a bit overwhelming and intimidating at first, but I think I'm starting to piece it together a bit more as I go. Awesome. Yeah. That's the best thing to do, is just start playing with it, you know. And the more you use it, the more used to it you'll get. I love his little chin and these little jowls. That's what kind of made me choose this design, is I thought this would be a particularly tricky feature to model. I'm stuttering today. And then I'll need to fill this neck in quite a bit because I kind of want it to all connect together. And I got his lower jowl a little too long. So let's bring that up. Oh my goodness, this guy's funny. Funny, funny. Doesn't really have a jaw line. I mean, it's there, but okay, now what I can do is I like to do Sculptris. So Sculptris is here. And then turn off adaptive size and roll this down a little bit. There we go. And this Sculptris Pro is essentially just dynamic topology. That's all it is. But I love it. And I start with some triangles about the same size as my quads underneath to start with. Then you can decrease the what am I trying to say? The density. You can make the density tighter and tighter the more detail you need, which is awesome. So that's the difference. Somebody asked why I don't use Dynamesh. Because Dynamesh, if I were to Dynamesh right now, it would stitch his mouth shut. And with Sculptris Pro, I can sculpt over the top of his lips, and it's not going to destroy that stuff. Here, I'll just put it into one poly group so I can see it. I do like to look at the topology just so I can see what it looks like. There we go. So this is kind of what I was talking about with the neck. I want to bring it down and make it blend like he doesn't have a chin. It just kind of goes right down his neck. Yeah, something like that. Let's bring in the sides of his head more. Now Move does not work with Dynamic or Sculptris Pro. So which I like, because I like to make big movements knowing that it's not affecting my mesh. But if you want to have your mesh affected, you can use Sculptris Pro. Or, sorry, Sculptris Pro. You can use Snakehook. Snakehook works with Sculptris Pro, whereas Move does not. That's what I was trying to say. Okay. And this detail brush, I'm going to take the detail down just a little bit more. And you'll see it adds detail as I use it, which is a great feature. You just have to be careful with it. If you're careful, you won't get into problems. But if you're heavy-handed with it and you crank the detail all the way up, then you're going to have problems. And this pinch brush, this is another one that I turned the Sculptris Pro feature off of, because it works against each other. If you're trying to pinch geometry and create geometry at the same time, it just doesn't work very well. So I just turn it off. These look like lumps. I need to fix those so they blend in more like brows. If you're wondering why I added those, I wanted the silhouette in the 3/4 view of those brows. But you have to integrate them so they make sense and they're not just like Frankenstein bumps on there. So I'm using my subtle fill brush, which is essentially an SK brush. SK is another sculptor on here, Japanese sculptor, really, really awesome. And he does like anime females that are really great. I had better save this off. Okay. Is chat still working? You guys got quiet all of a sudden. You just mesmerized. Hopefully you're just mesmerized. Oh, I turned on down. Okay, if you are sculpting in the middle of sculpting and all of a sudden you feel like the if you ever feel like what am I trying to say? The function, what am I trying to say? What's the word for it? Like your machine will feel like it slows down, right? Make sure you don't have dynamic turned on. Okay, so make sure you turn dynamic off. Did you ever try out that brush from SK? Not yet, Chris. I need to still. Okay, so when I go up in detail, I kind of like to do a sweep across everything, just because along the edges, if you have lower resolution detail next to higher resolution detail, and you try and do stuff in that area, it's going to have some issues. You're going to see it, you know, in your surface, like right here. You can tell that this is lower and this is higher. So you just got to be careful with that. Hey, what's up, Tim? Yeah, Dynamic and Sculptris Pro do not, it's like oil and water. They do not get along well together. So make sure that you turn that off. Dynamic stands for dynamic subdivisions, and subdivisions work with quads only. So for example, here I'll just I'll just append oh, come on, append. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'll just append this sphere right here. It's gigantic. And then I'll just replace it with a cube so you can see what it actually does. So I have this cube. Let me turn off creasing. Okay, this cube, if I turn on dynamic subdivision right here, it'll look like this. It'll subdivide it. So if you're used to, hey, what's up, Guy? Guy is here, everybody. Guy is the person who came up with this concept. So basically it'll subdivide it times 3. So it's kind of like if you're used to Maya, it's like hitting 3 on the keyboard in Maya. It's a subdivision, and it looks like this. So that's what it's doing when you turn on dynamic subdivisions. It's giving you a preview of what real subdivisions are going to look like. I'm not going to go into what real subdivisions are and all that kind of stuff, but I just kind of wanted to show you the difference. So if you're trying to subdivide triangles, it's basically taking a triangle and multiplying it by 4, and that's where your machine slowdown is going to come from, because it just doesn't work. So, okay. All right, let's go back to our guy. Next guy, right now, I'm just trying to figure out the brows. Yeah, they're really awesome brows, but they're quite heavy, and right now they're looking a little too out there. So I need to settle them down. A little too crazy. Okay, and I really need to get those the smile crease a little deeper, because he's been around the block a couple times, right? He's got a pretty deep smile crease. Hey, Turbo Tsunami, how's it going? And one thing with Sculptris Pro that you need to be aware of is you're going to get some chunky looking surfaces, but you just kind of have to train your mind to look past those chunky surfaces and just know that they're going to be smoother eventually. I think that's the hardest thing for people to see past when they're using Sculptris Pro. Okay, I want to fill this part in more. Make that neck transition work a little better. Keep struggling with eyeball diameter. Hard to know you have it the correct. Yeah. So, Tim, with eyeballs, you usually want to make them bigger than you think they should be because of that radius, right? The surface curvature. If you get them too small, they're going to look bulgy, like they're going to bulge out of the head. So make them large in the head and focus on the size of the eye opening, and you'll be much better off because they won't look bulgy. Retopologizing in 3D coat. Oh, fun. I was retopologizing my bear not too long ago. I'm kind of trying to redo my bear a little bit. Now, this fill brush is also really good for cutting. So, like I'm holding down Alt and you can actually push into the surface as well as pull out. And it works quite well for things like eye cavities and whatnot. Right, you can, yeah, you can do the pizza box trick. Okay, so just kind of want to bring this eyelid out. Now, sometimes if you draw something from one angle and it looks good, but then you look over here and it's like, that's curving out onto the nose a little too much, you can just take your move brush and nudge it back into place. You don't have to go, oh crap, I did that stroke too far out and now it's broken. How am I going to fix it? Right? So you can always make a stroke and then nudge it back in position where you want it to be. Ryan, I would love to get my bear animated. I would love that to happen. But I'm not sure that it will. But I'm hoping eventually one day it will. I've had some animator friends reach out to me and ask me if they could. So there's a good chance. Okay, I think eyebrows are going to make a big difference on this guy. And sometimes if oh, what do people say? Well, what do you say that's politically correct? There's a thing that a lot of people say that's not politically correct, but like what I'm thinking about is don't be precious with things that you've done if they're not working. Like for example, I spent some time creasing this right here, but some of the geometry was kind of getting messed up in there, and I'm better off if I were to smooth this out and then go back in there and pinch it again. Yeah, like don't be precious about your babies, or I can't remember the saying, how it goes. And then you can come in here. I want to turn Sculptris Pro off with this inflate brush and just kind of inflate this closed a little bit better. Okay. And always be spinning your model. The weight is unbearable. You need a rim shot. Okay, I want to pull this back more. Okay, let's work on these ears a little bit. Yeah, now that I have everything in place, his eyes do feel a bit large. I want them more beady. So I'm just going to do that pizza box trick really quickly. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So say you have these eyeballs with the eyelids and you want to scale them down, but normally before the whole transpose visible, I can't remember what it's called. I call it the pizza boxes. This thing, transpose all selected subtools. Before that, hey, what's up, Brian? How you doing, man? Haven't seen you forever. It's been a while. So, yeah, thanks for dropping by, Brian. Brian is an amazing sculptor. If you don't know who he is, I highly suggest you go check out his work. Fantastic stuff. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Okay, I'm gonna do the pizza box trick. Here we go. So say your eyes are too big and you just want to make them smaller, but typically you would have to go, okay, my eyes, I'm going to scale them down, and then you'd scale down your eyelids, and you're trying to scale everything one at a time, and it's just a pain in the butt. I want to scale everything all together. I want to keep my eyelids with my eyes and all that stuff. So, and I want to scale the skin around the eyes. I know that sounds morbid, but that's what I want to do. So let's mask these off so he looks a little bit like Alice Cooper. And then blur this out. And that's the area that I'm going to scale. Now, I can, when I change over to the eyeball subtool, it looks like the mask went away, but it didn't. It's still there. And the reason why I want to use the mask subtool is because I want to scale these eyeballs from where this gizmo is, right on the front of that eye. I don't want to scale it from the center of the eyeball. I want to scale it from the front because I don't want to push it any further back. So, okay. So now watch what happens. If I scale this, oh, I got to turn the pizza boxes on. Okay, you turn this on, and now the whole thing scales. Oops, I have my, I don't want to sculpt, I don't want to bring my ears and body along for the ride. So I hold down Control plus Shift and tap on, or yeah, clear the selection here. Let's go. Clear the selection and just tap on the things that I want to come along for the ride. There we go. So you can see that the body and the ears are transparent. Now I can scale these down, and I want to turn on local symmetry. There we go. And so I can scale those, and it brings everything along for the ride. And I can also I can move these wherever I want, up and down, left and right, whatever, and get them just right. So I feel like they could be down just a little bit. Well, maybe, yeah, something like that. And I can also pull them back into the head more if I wanted to, or forward a little more if I wanted to. Yeah, yep. So it's a little trick I developed. I'm proud to say. Okay. So here we go. That's it. Now his eyes are smaller than they were before. And I didn't have to scale things one at a time. So have you ever done that, Brian? Ever use that? Okay. Now I want to build up the brows a little bit more above here. Because they're quite heavy. And they're creating a lot of shadow in the eye socket here. Yep, you're welcome. And then I'll make the wrinkles later. Why ZBrush default pinch brush doesn't work like your custom pinch brush? Can you show how to set ZBrush pinch brush so it can work like yours? That's kind of against the thing. If you want this sounds like a jerk response, but if you like the pinch brush, just use the one that I made, because I didn't start with the pinch brush that comes with ZBrush. I started with something else. Actually, it started as a Ma cut brush. So Malachus the Black initially developed that brush, and then I tweaked it a little bit and made a different icon for it. So it's not like I started with the pinch brush and changed it to that. So my suggestion would be to just either use the Ma cut brush if you like that, or use my pinch brush. But sorry I don't have time to go into brush making right now. Yeah, man, new moves. Yatunia, this is Yatuni. This is ZBrush. Okay, let's do some detail, and let's see, we're in it an hour so far. Hour and 4 minutes, not too bad. Okay, let's see. Let's go Sculptris Pro. Do you use Sculptris Pro much either, Brian? I'm just curious. It's kind of become my new favorite. I like it a lot. Because it's basically, I can give myself it's kind of like painting gesso onto a canvas to get ready for painting. It's like I can get my surface, the resolution kind of ready for me to sculpt on, which I like a lot. Okay, something like this. And what I'll do with this is, oh, I still have my pizza boxes turned on. I want to make sure you turn those off. And then I basically put my gizmo into place and then rotate the ear into place. His ears are quite deep, so shallow out here on the edge and then deep down inside there. And you'll see that it stretches the heck out of the geometry in there, but that's okay because we're using Sculptris. Do I know Ryan Kingsland? Yes, I do. He actually interviewed me for one of his for his channel. I think you can find an interview. I'm not sure where it's at. I don't know if it's on YouTube or not. I Dynamesh 80% of things. It should be yep, for sure, Brian. That is, yeah, that's where I went with it. Right. Let's see. Do I like video games? I love video games, Juan. I worked in video game industry for 22 years. So you could say that. And yes, I play them as well. Not everybody in the video game industry plays games, which is, I thought that was weird. Let's see. How are you? I hope you're having a good 2020. I hope it's not 2020 anymore. I know it's a typo. 2021 is going great so far. Thank you, Zofo. I appreciate it. He's your mentor right now? Yeah, he's a good one. He knows his anatomy. So learn anatomy from Ryan for sure. Say you open an OBJ file that has a lower resolution than you'd like and the mesh keeps tearing when you try to edit it. How would you go about raising the resolution to sculpt on it easier? Frozen over, just hit Control D and it will add subdivision levels. So add subdivision levels until it's around 1 million polys and then you can start to detail it out. Planet Alpha? I don't know that game. I've been playing Planet Coaster recently, but not Planet Alpha. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of. So, Brian, the secret to using Sculptris comfortably that I have found is make sure you turn off adaptive under stroke right here. So turn off adaptive size. And then you can it's not attached to your brush size anymore. I'm slimmer. Yeah, dude, I lost 45 pounds last year. I went vegan. I went vegan for crazy health reasons, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. But you can see it a lot when I take off my headphones. Check it out. In my face. I'm like, where did my chub face go? Carb face, I call it. Carb face. That's awesome, guy. Thanks. Well, I'm glad you're hanging out to see it happen. I always thought it would be interesting to see how someone else interprets your volumes and designs, and sometimes I wonder if it's like, hey, he didn't catch that little thing I did. You know what I mean? Or it's like, oh, hey, he added a thing that made it better that I wouldn't have thought about, that kind of thing. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. Now we need to start working out more. Okay, let's, I want to get that inner, I don't know what that thing's called. That little bit that looks like a Y in there. It's a little too strong of a brush. Let me tone that down. Thanks, Frozen Over. Hey, speaking of subs, I am going to be, I'm going to be going all in on my YouTube channel this year. That's kind of one of the things I want to do. And I'm going to be focusing on the tech on my YouTube channel and the art in my on my online course and the feedback. So that's kind of one of the big changes that's going to happen for me in 2021 is my online presence on YouTube. So I haven't really done too much yet, but it's in the works. And not just ZBrush, but other programs as well. So I'm excited about that. Okay, let's get this straighter. Trying to find the interview with me and Ryan. Yeah, I'm not sure where he puts those. I don't know if it was for a specific course that he was running or exactly what. I'm not sure. So this is another reason why I like Sculptris Pro quite a bit, is because I can attach the ears. Well, I can leave them unattached for a long time, and it makes it non-destructive. So if I want to move his cheeks in, say, I won't mess with the ears. And then I can attach them later using remesh by union. And it's not like Dynamesh where it rebuilds your entire mesh, because I want to keep a lot of this information that I've done, and I don't want to sew his mouth shut. That's what Dynamesh would do. It would sew his mouth shut. And that's pretty brutal. Still needs to talk, this guy. Get those those neck wrinkles in there. Guy, I love this character. Sketches don't always make sense from different angles, so to see how you interpret things and make the unknown angles work is neat. Yep. That is the challenge, and that's the reason why I do what I do. I love it. It's also cool to see the nuances you add bring out the personality. Yeah. Thanks, I appreciate it. Like these little folds and like, yeah, and eventually I will add the asymmetry, right? He's very symmetrical, and yours has kind of been, you know, squished and whatever. So it's always fun to add that asymmetry at the end to give it even that much more personality. But I like how gaunt his cheeks are right here. Did that a little too high, maybe down here. And it's interesting to see, I'm sure as a concept artist, how your stuff works in 3D, right? Okay, so with these eyebrows, I'm gonna get those eyebrows in there. I do want to make, one second, before I hit that, I see that I want to push his nostril and stuff into his head a little bit more. Oh, that's funny. When you showered. Looks like you when you showered. Hey, what's up, Marcos? Hey, we have a good turnout today. Looks like about 210 people are watching across all platforms. So right now, I don't know if everybody knows this or not. You might be able to see from the chat the little icons up there, but I'm streaming on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube all at the same time. So hello from wherever you're watching from. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it. And if you want my brushes and my user interface, I give those away for free over on my website, 3dcharacterworkshop.com. You can grab them over there. I give them away, and yeah, put them to good use. But these are the exact brushes I use to create all my characters. So There's an actor that this guy reminds me of, and I can't recall the name of him. Thanks, Neil. Huge shout out to Neil. Neil is my bot that's a living person. So a living bot. He always posts all the awesome links. And speaking of Neil, do you mind if I give you a little highlight during the stream? Neil just posted another character in the 3D workshop community, which I always like to show off. So I teach an online course. It's called the 3D Character Workshop. It's lifetime access, risk-free. You can check it out. And it comes with a community. The community has turned out to be one of the biggest parts of the workshop. But this is Neil's work right here. He put up a new mouse. It's pretty good, Neil. I like the render. A little slow. Yeah, and these hands are looking much better. Much better. Awesome. So very cool. Anyway, it's a lot like ZBrush Central. It's got a top row and a whole bunch of student work in there, and we give each other feedback, and yeah, it's awesome. So if you want to be a part of it, come join us. It's a lot of fun. And I have huge plans for 2021 for the new year. Can't wait. Hey, Stephen, thank you so much. I think I want to bring his forehead in right here to get that shape. There we go. And then the hair will really add. I have some ideas on how I want to do the hair with this guy. Sorry to laugh in the microphone. That makes me, I love characters that make me laugh while I'm doing it, while I'm making them. Let's put a little bend to that neck. And then big cups on the back of his ears. I like when ears have exaggerated ear cups. Maybe too tight. Let's do a loose version. Also, if you're sculpting on something like a cape or like an ear and you don't want to accidentally sculpt on the front side of whatever you're working on, there's this thing called backface auto mask. You turn that on, and then you're guaranteed not to accidentally sculpt on the opposite side of your sculpt. Yeah, it's better. That's what I wanted. I didn't want such a... So that, yeah, that didn't accidentally do that. Okay. Q&A stream's a lot of fun and insightful. Thank you so much. I didn't do a Q&A stream. Oh, come on. What's going on? Stop. Okay. Yeah, backface masking does not work with Sculptris Pro, just so you know. That's why sometimes it'll give you an error. It'll say, hey, you can't do that. Oh, welcome back, HD. Your phone died, so I wasn't able to watch. I can't watch the rest of the stream, sadly. Hope you have the good rest of your stream. Oh, thank you so much. You can watch this back on YouTube. It should be posted there not too long from now. I don't know how long they take to post these on Pixologic's YouTube channel. Okay. Let's make some eyebrows. This guy's going a lot quicker than I thought he would. Usually takes longer. Sometimes characters just come into place, and sometimes you have to, and this is actually a Ryan Kingsland quote, is they have to stay in the valley of the suck for a while. Sounds good, HD. Take care, man. Oh, that's awesome, Neil. Timur, I'm doing good, thanks. Okay. Yeah, I credit Ryan for saying that. That's hilarious. And it's so true. I don't think I've had any character that hasn't gone through some valley of the suck at some point. And valley of the suck just means it's going to suck for a while. And then hopefully it's going to emerge on the other side of the valley, sparkly and clean and awesome. But sometimes the valley is a lot longer than it needs to be. Or, you know, it depends on the character. Somebody just purchased my course. So whoever that was, if you're hanging out on the live stream, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, so especially when you're new, you know, your model is going to stay in that valley for a longer time. But even after 22 years in this in my career, my characters still suck for a while. Sometimes they, you know, suck for a less amount of time, but all right, just shaping these eyes and then we'll do the eyebrows. Oh, Tim, whatever. I'm not buying it, brother. You have leveled up so much. Hey, Mike, how you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. Okay, let's see. Yeah, if I'm not, that's the thing. I wish people could see that it doesn't just magically happen, you know. Characters just don't appear out of nowhere, and I'm very, very rarely, if ever, are the characters perfect the first time, you know? Rarely. It's kind of looking angry. I don't want him angry. I just want his brows to be heavy. Still struggling with it? Yeah, you just got to keep doing it. That's the best way, is just to keep doing it and learn from your mistakes and do it again. Just like anything, right? Okay. Thanks, Florian. I appreciate it. Okay, let's get these eyebrows going. And just like those eyelids, I use the Retopology brush and just draw them on the surface. I want to peek that out a little bit more right there. I can't figure out how to go back and edit other primitives once I made a couple shapes. Mike, we need to do, I need to do like a beginner live stream in the course. And for all the people that are stuck like you, make sure you can get past that point, because that's no good. Okay, boom, there they are. Let's separate. Yeah, I know you're in. I know you're in the course. I'm just saying I should make a specific live stream so you can come ask questions if you're brand new or still struggling with that stuff. Okay. Let's uncrease. Not crease all, uncrease all. I don't want the creases. Yeah, yeah, you'll get the hang of it. Okay, I'm just going to edit this. So, yeah, I want, like I said, I really want to do some ZBrush videos, not too unlike Michael Pavlovich's videos or Joseph Druss, where I talk about the tech, like how to manipulate primitives and things like that. So, there we go. those are some of the grand plans. Now, I just want to add dynamic thickness to this. And turn off post sub div. Now these, I usually leave it here, right? I usually go, okay, those are good enough for what I'm using it for, but these brows are a little bushy. They're very bushy. And I really want to make them look like that. So I don't usually do this, but I'm going to take them to Sculptris and work on the bushiness. Yeah, that's why the most important thing, that's a really good point, John, is the most important thing is to get your blockouts solid, like super duper solid, because no amount of detail, no amount of painting, texturing, cloth, whatever, clothing, nothing is going to fix a bad blockout. So, yeah, that's why I'm working on I'm working on well, I don't want to spill the beans yet. I'm working on something to help with that. How's that? Yeah. Yeah, you want to stay away from details as long as you can. Okay, now he's looking like that guy from what is it? Monster House? Mad Balls. I remember those. Okay, let's so to change this to a Sculptris Pro model from a dynamically subdivided model, you have to hit apply right here. And then you go over to geometry and hit delete lower. And that actually assigns all of those subdivision levels to be the actual geometry. And this is the level of density that we have now. And now we can use our subdivisions and just like stroke over the top of that and add some details. And now I can go and push and pull this in and out of the geometry that's underneath it with the detail brush. But I think I want it to be even smaller. Like this. And so I can start to push in and pull out. And I don't want to be too symmetrical with this, but oh man, I love this song. What is it? Peter Murphy. I'll fall with your knife. It's good stuff. Tim Tim says I don't see you overlay your concept with your model very often to match the concept. Is that something you can do too much? Is it a bad crutch to develop? I would say it is a bad workflow. You do want to do it if you're unsure, but you don't want to do it too often because, like Guy was saying, the person who came up with this concept, the drawing's different than 3D, and the 3D is in symmetry, and the concept is not typically. So it's like, well, which side am I going to follow, right? So if you start to push your model and pull it and try to get it to match that concept exactly, you're going to run into problems, and you're going to feel like it's not working. So what I usually tell the students is you need to make your model feel like that concept, right? It's almost like a caricature of a caricature. You're trying to find the pieces and parts of that concept that make it what it is, and simplify and exaggerate and all of that kind of stuff. So, and make it work in 3D. It's not always going to work in 3D, so you're going to have to make some compromises here and there, you know? So I will occasionally, just to kind of see if I'm in the ballpark, particularly in the beginning, when I want to check my proportions and make sure their legs aren't too long and stuff like that, right? Okay. Marcos, what are you saying? Please don't spam the channel with single. Yeah, please. Unless your cat's sitting on your keyboard or something. Okay. Oh. All right. Let's see. Sculpt for concept, it's the same way for sculpt for 3D prints, or you have to sculpt thinking differently. It's the same for 3D printing. I usually sculpt from concept. I don't sculpt from. I do occasionally, but I will always have some kind of reference in front of me. I'll never just try and make something up as I go. So in that way, it's kind of the same. Down in Memphis. I always get into trouble because I make my strokes too even when I'm doing stuff like this. So I have to go back in and make them uneven. Okay. All right, something like that'll work, I think. I can do the same thing with the head. And I'll probably do the same thing with the hair on the back of the head and up here, is just kind of push it in and out so it looks like it's hair. But hair like this will 3D print pretty nicely, as long as there's not any real bad undercuts. Yeah, I started it an hour and a half ago. And please don't let that intimidate you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't let it intimidate you. Please. I've been doing this I should say it took me an hour and a half plus 22 years. Okay, so don't let it intimidate you. So Vec, what you want to do is run Dynamesh on your model first, and then decimate it, and that should clean up most of your model. Yeah, you can also fix it in Mesh Mixer. That's a good idea too. But I think the Anycubic Photon software can fix stuff. But I would go through those steps. I would combine all of your pieces together, dynamesh it so it gets rid of all the interior geometry, and then decimate it so it makes it a low resolution file that your printer can handle. And then you'll want to weld points, close holes, and then send it to your printing software. Otherwise, you're going to have issues. Yeah. And once again, I go over all of that in my course if you're interested in going further than that brief overview. Hey, thanks, Quicks. Checked out Pixar's Soul movie yet? Yes. I really enjoyed all the character designs and animations, and the lighting was really nice. Yes, I love the fingers of the main character. When he's playing the piano, I love those the design, and I love the shape of his head. It's kind of like a big half moon shape. Really cool. Love it. Okay. Yeah, if you haven't seen Soul, watch it. Man, I still want to make his eyes even smaller looking at this. So what Tim was talking about, usually I'll put this in perspective, shrink it down, something like this. And you'll see, I can tell how bad the eyes are. Just turn the opacity down, turn the scale up. And I just kind of hover and float this across here, and we'll see how close I got. So pretty close, except for those eyes. See that? So the ear, I don't see, sometimes I am like, I'm surprised that I got this close. So you can see how close the nose is, how close those ears are. The body is way too big. I need to shrink the body down, but the head height is pretty good. But the eyes are too big. Too big. Yeah, this is Spotlight. So it's, yeah, and it's built in ZBrush. Okay. So now that I know that this is an issue, let's shrink this down, make it smaller. Shrink this down, make it smaller. It's actually making him funnier looking, which I love it. Yeah, I'll do the pizza box trick again. That's how you got to do it. I actually like this little puffiness, like the skin is being tucked into the shirt. So I'm going to leave that. And I like how he's got weak shoulders. Okay. So let's make his eyes even smaller. Let's do it. So again, we need to do our masking on the head here. Back to Alice Cooper. Okay. Turn on our pizza boxes. Well, let's go to the eyeballs. Pizza boxes. And it remembers your selection, by the way. See how my ears and my shirt are still not selected? And it remembers. So it remembers per subtool. So you can, that's another reason why I like to do it from the eyeballs and not the head itself, because sculpting with that head, I've moved it everywhere. But you can see it's bringing the eyebrows down with it and everything. I'm going to go really small. I'm going to break it. Maybe there. And make them a little closer together. Perfect. Okay. Another reason why you don't want to combine everything too quickly. Okay, but now I feel like the eyebrows need to be fixed. Not so high, but more forward. Okay. Are Are you giving him a voice? Like, what's for dinner? Come on. I'm hungry. Oh, goodness. Accidentally inflated this thing. All right, let's give him some color. Now it feels like his brows are sticking too far out, like the actual brow underneath the eyebrows sticking out a little too far. And this is a little too far. There we go. Okay. Okay, before I do anything large, like big movements, I like to save it. So let's save it. Save as over here. And then because I'm going to stitch the ears in and the eyelids in. So these ears are already Sculptris. They already have tons of triangles and they match the surface of this. So the stitching should go well. But the eyelids, not so much because they're still dynamic thickness. So what I want to do is apply that just like I did with the eyebrows. Apply that. Get rid of the lower subdivision levels. Okay, and that should be okay, but just in case, I'm going to run. Okay. I can't do that because it shrinks it too much. Oh, thanks so much, Marco. Welcome. Okay. And I'm going to hide the eyeballs just to see what's behind there and to see, because I don't want to make issues. And I think that should work. That should actually stitch pretty well. So we'll try it. I don't want to stitch the eyebrows. Ears. Don't want to stitch the eyes or the body. Okay, so merge down and do it a couple more times and one more time. Okay, so now they're all together and I can merge them or stitch them together. I don't want to keep the groups. It's not necessary. But you do need to have the gizmo in the center of the object. So you have to turn symmetry off by hitting X. Hit this little Google Maps icon right here, and that will center it. And then turn symmetry back on, and then stitch it together. Remesh by union. Bonk. And then I want to inspect the stitch. It looks pretty good right here. And then around the ear, it looks really good. And, you know, it most likely would stitch the mouth closed. So I'm going to undo that. Delete. So I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to open his mouth slightly just so that doesn't happen. Yeah, Neil. So you caught that too, right? It was like, oh crap, you're going to do that. Don't do that. Okay. So you would have caught me if I didn't catch myself. And it's going to look silly for a minute, but I just need to pull this apart slightly just so it's not touching. Now, Sculptris Pro is a little more forgiving than Dynamesh. Meaning you can be closer than you have to be with Dynamesh. So I'm just going to open it that much just so it doesn't stitch shut. Now do it again. Okay, here we go. There we go. I can inspect it up in there. Looks pretty good. And accept. Boom. I still have my perspective turned on, which it isn't all bad to have perspective turned on, but sometimes you'll run into symmetry issues when it is on. Okay. So now what I can do is, now that they're stitched together, I can go in with Sculptris Pro and just kind of blend it together more like that. see. Now, if you ever run out of geometry with Sculptris, like your triangles won't get small enough, you can always scale your whole character up because the adaptive size is tied to your working space size. So we can use the pizza boxes for this as well. So I'll just turn these on, clear everything out, and then just scale the whole thing up all together. Oop. Just got to remember to scale it back down if you are working to scale of some sort. But anyway, this will give me smaller triangles now because I was running out of triangles with these eyelids. See, now I can run smaller triangles around here and still maintain the edges. And I can smooth around the areas where I need the detail, like around the lips. Oh, it looks like I did not turn on symmetry. So how to fix this, because I want to keep that, I either need to undo back to where before I forgot to do the symmetry, or I can just mirror it once and then do a mirror and weld. There you go. And now I have it on both sides. Thanks, Marco. Yep. I'm not, I don't do everything perfect every time. That's I'm a human. Okay. So now this, I don't want to be that dense. So I can roll this up a little bit, check it. No, it's still too dense. Okay. Because I want to use the fill brush and build up the connection between the ear and the head a little bit more, so it's not so hard of a transition. There we go. And I can turn that back down. And I can smooth, like I said, I can smooth out these lumpy areas and they'll become smoother now because I have tighter triangles. You just don't want to be too heavy-handed with it. Okay, let's get some color on it. How by using this, transpose all selected subtools. You turn that on and you're able to move everything around. Make sure you turn it off when you're done. Thanks, Neil. Okay, so I want to add some color to him, and then we'll get into some more details like his forehead wrinkles and his crow's feet and things like that. You want to keep the details to the very end. Where did his eyebrows go? They got left behind. They must have been hidden. Okay, no worries. We'll just center and scale it up. Whoop. Yep, there's another mistake I made. Like, where did his eyebrows go? They got left behind. Yeah, he just... I'll have to fix those a little bit here in a minute. Okay, so let's get some color. Color to me is the funnest part. I really, because it feels like they come to life when you add the color on there. So I'm going to go a little lighter, less orangish. And then grab this red. So in order to grab a color from your concept, you have to have this ring showing by hitting Z on your keyboard. And then hovering C, you can see the things I don't have filled with a color. You'll see a preview of that color in those objects. But it's kind of misleading because since they're not full and you don't have that object selected, it's going to show you a darker color on those objects. You can see it's lighter over here and it's darker over here. That's because it's, yeah, it's kind of showing you the non-selected version of that. Okay. So I'm going to grab my airbrush and turn Sculptris Pro off for this. You can use Sculptris Pro with color, but I typically don't. I'll just kind of give him some warmth through here in his fleshy bits. And up in his eye. And it's pretty dark red out on the tip of his nose, which is fun. Okay, let's get some blue going down in here. Actually, I'm gonna take it more blue, maybe a blue like this. And then my airbrush is super light, so you just want to barely touch it. And if you take it too far, you can come back. Actually, I'm just going to try this color and see what it does. Yeah, it's pretty good. I like it. Usually I like it a little more blue than what Guy has done, but that's okay. Now I'm going to grab this color from the face. Inform people about Spotlight Project if you're using Spotlight for a concept. Yeah. So if you are using this Spotlight, that's what this is called, make sure that you turn off Spotlight Projection, which is right here in my custom menu, right there. Otherwise, most of your brushes won't work. Your move brush will work and your smooth brush will work, but everything else will not. So just be wary of that. It's a gotcha, and it'll get you every time. Okay. Lighten up the top of his head. And fill these eyeballs. Yeah, it's seriously, it gets you. Okay, I'm not going to do the purple stripes on his shirt just yet. I'm just going to leave it white. You know, I might make it just purple, just so it's not white. Okay. Hey, Sumerian, how you doing? Okay. Let's give him some pupils. It was good. It was good. Thanks. Okay. Yep, we just hung out with the fam and yeah, it was good. He's a little cross-eyed here. Okay, I'm going to split this off. So I want to keep him here, but I'm going to edit his head to come back and match this. Still looks quite cross-eyed. All right, I want to give him some eyelashes just by painting on the surface here. Yeah, dark. I'm not sure if I'm going to have time, but I might. That's usually the last step I do is hit the asymmetry. But I haven't done his hair yet, so that's kind of why I'm a little bit reluctant. give him some eyeshadow under here, just to kind of give the illusion that his eyes are a little deeper than they are. And I need to color his brows as well. And I need to bring his lids down. It doesn't quite have the same expression. Okay. Let's see. Let's just do a couple of crow's feet. I'm pulling them out first rather than pushing them in. With the cloth brush. The cloth brush to me is just a like a standard-ish kind of brush. It's funny. Yeah, it's the asymmetry is the thing that's really going to make it work, I think. Because right now it's close, but not there. Okay, let me give him some grayish hair. Maybe I'll grab it from there. There we go. Oh yeah, thanks, Tim. Oh, let's see here. Let me see if I can just quickly I want to block in his hair just really quickly. Okay, I don't want it that dense. That works. Okay. I'm just using Sculptris Pro for this because it's quite squishy of a brush. And it works with dynamic fairly well. It's got wings. Turn up smoothing. So I'm just trying to move quick. I would usually add some thickness, like dynamic thickness with this and draw the topology on, but just for ease of speed. Was the way it locked to not dependent on brush size? I need to get back to using it again, keep neglecting it. No, I turned brush size off. I turned adaptive on. So it's just relative to the scene, not the brush size. I can't work with it if it's just the brush size. It kind of drives me batty, honestly. Yeah, a lot of people like it tied to the brush size, but I don't. I just don't. You know, I think I need to thin it out through here. Pattern, give him a better pattern for his pattern baldness. There we go. There we go. Little snow-capped mountains. Oh, goodness. What's my system specs? I have, let's see. It's AMD 1700 and 64 megs of RAM. I'm trying to remember. And two 1080 cards. Yeah. I kind of like this being out like that. It's kind of a unique thing. All right. Okay, everybody. I think I'm going to end it there. I'll probably I'll just add some asymmetry off camera, but that's, yeah, and finish painting his shirt off camera, but there you go. All right. Yep. Thanks for hanging out with me, everybody. It's been a fun sculpt. Thank you, Guy, for the awesome concept. I should say Cacti Guy. Check out Cacti Guy's work over on Instagram. He does some amazing stuff. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. We got, what are we at? 244 people watching today. That's amazing. Thank you so much. And I hope you're enjoying your 2021 so far. And as always, if you want my brushes and my user interface, I give them away for free over at 3dcharacterworkshop.com. And I teach an online course if you want to learn how to make characters like this and learn how to 3D print them and take them into game characters, things like that. Please feel free to join us. Again, 3dcharacterworkshop.com. We'll see you in the course. If not, we'll see you next Monday. Thanks and take care. Stay safe. Have a wonderful time. All right, we'll see you. Cheers. Thanks, Neil.